Jones is going to begin to take off and then fire, and it's caught. Touchdown, James Jones.
Rogers with time down the sideline, has his man, Jordy Nelson. Nelson on his way.
Two-minute warning here in Arlington, over the middle. Caught. Touchdown. Greg Jennings.
Last time. Now some pressure. Throws it deep. Jordy Nelson. He's got it inside the 20.
Well, hello. Welcome in. This is the post route on Game On Wisconsin. I'm Alex Strouf as the Packers top the Philadelphia Eagles at Lambeau Field, 30-16. The final. Excited to break this down for the next 30 or 45 minutes. Kyle Hoffenbecker with me behind the scenes. Screening your calls, taking those, passing them on to me, pressing the buttons, and doing all the in-betweens. That producer Kyle always does. He will join us shortly. And want to hear from all of you. I want to hear your thoughts on the Packers win, which got a little bit too close for comfort there at the end. But then Aaron Jones made us feel all okay as he rattled off his 77-yard touchdown run. That was ultimately the dagger for Green Bay, now 9-3 on the season. And thanks, Brad. Appreciate that. Congrats on beating COVID. Yeah, I did have that a few weeks back. Yeah, that was no fun. Thanks a lot. But taking your calls, 877-878-7683, as we dive into make sense of this game and, put a good bow on it, as the Packers now 9-3 in second place, all by themselves after the Giants beat the Seahawks. We'll get there to leave the Packers alone in second place in the NFC. So they are creeping up on the Saints, just one game ahead of them, looking for that coveted one spot that earns you that bye the opening week of the NFL playoffs there in January. But let's start here. Going into this game, there was a lot of discussion surrounding the Eagles quarterbacks. I mean, that was what we were talking about aplenty, right? Of course, we know that Carson Wentz has been, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He's been horrible this year. He had as many interceptions as he did touchdowns leading into this game. And he didn't look a whole hell of a lot better in this game. 6 of 15, 79 yards. Doug Peterson said enough is enough, and he decided to go with the rookie, Jalen Hurts, the Heisman runner-up, the national champion, the guy that had been benched before, a guy that had been replaced. And now he's going to be the guy doing the replacing, because Jalen Hurts actually looked pretty good. And that was the first time, I think, in weeks that the Eagles offense was competent, and looked like an actual football team. I mean, what we saw in the first half from the Eagles offense was some of the worst football I've seen played in the last 15 years I've been watching the sport. I mean, it was that bad. So the big takeaway for me from this game is, I don't know if I want to call it Super Bowl hangover because it's been a few years, but ever since then, I haven't been confident in the Eagles. And I know I'm on the outside looking in. I'm not sitting on WIP in Philadelphia by any means, but I still watch enough football to know the Eagles have just not been good since they won that Super Bowl a few years back. And this game showed it. And there was an example in this game that really showed to me that Jalen Hurts might be the future, but I can definitely tell you that Doug Peterson, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, is not the future for this franchise. It was the third quarter of the football game. You're down 17 points. The score is 20-3. Packers lead. Eagles behind. And get this. They run the football. They don't look to pass. They don't look to get into field goal range, which was only, 10 yards. You didn't even need the first down to be in field goal range. But Doug Peterson ran the football, got him nowhere, and ultimately led to a punt. And to me, that was like waving a white flag. That was like saying, hey, Green Bay, we know you're kicking our ass at Lambeau Field. We're going to give up here in the third quarter. Just waving their white flag around. And I looked at the television and I said to myself, there's no way Doug Peterson's coming back next year. And Doug Peterson's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. He won a Super Bowl. He's creative and he's a good head coach. But today showed me he doesn't belong in Philadelphia anymore. And I think we already knew. I mean, maybe the jury's still out a little bit on Carson Wentz, but he's making a lot of dollar bills. And I don't know if he's the future with Philadelphia either, but it's going to be hard to dump off a guy that's making somewhere around the ballpark of $60 million, Carson Wentz is. But I'd be interested to hear from you, even if you're not an Eagles fan. I think they'd be silly to not let Jalen Hurts be their starting quarterback the remainder of the year. I was talking dollar bills. There's another guy, if we go to the other team, that's going to be looking for dollar bills at the end of this season. That's Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones, as producer Kyle pulls up the swaggy picture of Showtime, Aaron Jones said today, non-verbally, of course, "Bring me my money."
Tell him to bring me my money.
Tell him to bring me my money. Because Aaron Jones said, after Jalen Reagor took back that 71-yard punt return touchdown where everybody missed, but J.K. Scott especially just has no idea how to tackle. But after that, Aaron Jones says, enough is enough. I'm going to do this myself. And he runs a 77-yard touchdown to the house like he's doing his best Derrick Henry impression. And David Bakhtiari was with him the whole way, the left tackle of the Packers, which was phenomenal to watch. But rumbling and bumbling all the way to the end zone and ultimately the dagger. And Aaron Jones is looking for a contract at the end of the season. Well, me personally would be perfectly okay with the Packers letting Aaron Jones walk. And if they re-sign Jamal Williams, I'd be thrilled with that. I think that makes the most sense, at least from the financial standpoint. But Aaron Jones has proven his worth. And this guy is going to be the key, one of the keys, in fact, one of the major keys to a good run in the postseason for Green Bay. Aaron Jones showed his worth and shows what he's capable of day in and day out. And again, this week, he proved his worth. A 77-yard run to win the Packers that football game. And I still don't know. I think this topic gets brought up almost every week here on the Postgame. But I'm curious on your thoughts. What do you do with Aaron Jones? If the price is right, of course it makes sense. But I don't think it's going to be if Aaron Jones continues to whip things like this out of the bag. And I think he'll get his money elsewhere, which I mean, that makes sense for everybody, I think. So we'll see. But Aaron Jones, definitely a big part of the Packers' win today. He had 15 carries for 130 yards, obviously 77 of those coming off of one run. But 130 yards and a touchdown nonetheless. How good is that duo of Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams? Seriously. How good are Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams? So good. We watched Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams link up for 10 times for 121 yards and a pair of touchdowns, including Aaron Rodgers' 400th career touchdowns. And there was that play that we're looking at as maybe the play of the game. I think, of course, you can make the case for Aaron Jones' 77-yard dagger, and I think producer Kyle will probably make a case for that when we talk to him here in a few minutes. But I've got to go with that 42-yard reception where the Packers have 99 yards to go. And Aaron Rodgers says, who cares if I'm a yard away from my own end zone? I'm just going to flick my wrist and see what happens. And just a few minutes after Marquez Valdes-Scantling dropped a long ball, and we'll get to MVS. But a few minutes after he did that, he went back to the long ball, but this time with Davante Adams. Somehow found the perfect hole between three defenders, and Davante Adams unbelievably caught that ball around midfield and put the Packers in a much better position. And that ultimately led to Aaron Rodgers' 400th career touchdown pass, which was also thrown to Davante Adams, who had 2 touchdowns on the day. And the Packers 30-16 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Phone lines are open, 877-878-7683. Anything you want to chat about in terms of this game, let's do it. Ring up producer Kyle, and let's chat about a big Packers victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, who are a miserable 3-8-1 now on the year. What's up, Kyle?
I mean, Eagles are – I mean, I hate this. I mean, maybe the Eagles are out of NFC East playoff contention. I mean, as we'll let's just get to it right now. I mean, the Giants beat the Seahawks today, which is I did not see that coming. I mean, as a fantasy owner of Chris Carson, Russell Wilson, and Jason Myers, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
But this isn't fantasy show, and I'm not Gage Bridford, and you're not Tyler Grisgoric, so we won't talk about that. As much as we talk about how good this offense is, I don't want to be the negative guy, but I'm going to be the negative guy right now and say that this offense is very hit and miss right now. It's all or nothing with this offense, and let me explain. The Packers had 4 3-and-outs today, which was as many touchdowns they scored today, and then you have the one Mason Crosby field goal. So there was no in between. It was either you're 3-and-out, and you obviously got to include the kneel down at the end of the game, but whatever, it's a kneel down. This offense either goes 3-and-out, or they find a way to score, and there's no in between. This offense is very painful to watch sometimes. And case in point being the fourth quarter when the Eagles come back, and now they're in down one possession, and Packers almost blow it because they can't get a first down. So I think we need to talk about the fact that this offense is not. It's great. It can be great at its highest point, but there's still some inconsistencies that need to be talked about, and that was shown today.
Yeah, that's fair. Here was the Packers' fourth quarter drives and how they ended. The first one, of course, punt return touchdown for Jalen Reagor. His 71-yard return was the Packers' first drive of the fourth quarter. That was a 3-and-out. That was followed up about a minute later because they got the ball back by another 3-and-out. And then, of course, their third and final. Well, they had 4. The last one was the kneel downs, and the one in between was Aaron Jones' 77-yard touchdown. So, yeah, the fourth quarter was not good for this offense by any means. But I don't think it's painful to watch this offense operate by any means. I think when you're at a comfortable lead, and maybe they weren't when it was 23-16, but they were at a comfortable lead. They were at a comfortable place in the game. They already scored 3 touchdowns on the day. And they eventually got that nightcap, if you will, from Aaron Jones that put them at the 30 threshold. And the key to the game for me, we talked about this on the pre-snap earlier today, was if the Packers score 30 points, they're going to win this game. The Eagles have not scored 30 points a single time this year. They weren't going to do it against the Packers either, especially if you have to bench your quarterback halfway through the game. Not an ideal scenario for Doug Peterson and company.
Post fell down mid through. I'll let you adjust.
Yeah, yes, I that did happen. Totally. Thanks for pointing that out. But I'm happy with where this went. Obviously, the fourth quarter wasn't ideal, but the Packers still scored 10 points in the fourth quarter, a field goal and that Aaron Jones touchdown. That's points. I mean, if you're getting 10 points a quarter, Kyle, that's probably.
Maybe I'm just being overly critical. I mean, I always, there's always something I think you can find from a game, and maybe that's just who I am. There's always something.
Well, it's no secret. It's no secret that the Packers tend to stoop to their competition's level, and. Yeah. When you've got a team that's this good, this prominent in the NFC and the National Football League really as a whole, at 9-3 with Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Devontae Adams all on that offense, yeah, you're gonna see some things that maybe you don't expect, or maybe some things that went wrong that shouldn't have gone wrong. It's gonna happen. It's football. That's how the game works. But when you're scoring 30 points, you're typically gonna win. The Green Bay Packers are going to win football games when they put up 30 points. This was another case of that, and I never wavered, even when it was a one-possession game. I wasn't nervous that Jalen Hurts, was going to pull a Tua Tagovailoa in the national championship game a year back, come in for the starter, which was Jalen Hurts, of course, at the time, go ballistic and win the football game. I never expected that to happen. I didn't even think I expected Jalen Hurts to play as well as he did. But the Packers were never in jeopardy of losing this game, even after that embarrassing punt return. That should never happen. Sean Menenga, by the way, should he even be allowed into the building tomorrow? That's the second time in 3 weeks they've allowed a punt return touchdown.
I think it's time for the giant thumb to leave Green Bay.
Yeah.
The giant thumb, if you've ever seen what Sean Menenga looks like, he looks like a giant thumb.
Also, how does somebody look like a thumb, Kyle? Explain that to me.
Bald head. I mean, your head is kind of, rounder than usual. If you know what Jacob Westendorf looks like, it's the same thing.
Yeah. I know I kind of see it, Kyle. Yeah. I don't think that's actually a terrible.
You put up your thumb and you put up. I wish I had a picture of Sean Menenga to show.
I'm working on it.
He looks like a giant thumb.
A little bit.
Got a completely bald head. You have a head that looks like mine. Just imagine me with no hair. It's a giant thumb.
It's a giant thumb. I don't know about a giant thumb, but it's definitely not a look by any means. I would go with here. Let's take a look here.
Thanks, Jacob.
Come on, Sean, load up for me. There you are. That's what Sean Manga looks like. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
A thumb, though?
Yeah.
I don't see it, Kyle. I don't see it.
I mean, you should because
Does that look like Sean Menenga to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works for me. That works for me.
I mean, this is the second time this season the Packers have given up a punt return.
Second time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, second time in 3 weeks.
And I guess it was against Frank Reich's team last time around, wasn't it? That was Indianapolis.
No, it was Jacksonville when they gave up.
It was Jacksonville. You're right. I'm sorry.
And this is the first time the Packers have given up multiple punt return touchdowns in a season since 1964.
Wow. How about that for a stat?
Last I checked, you can thank Matt Steinman for that stat. That was honestly clear. So that was pre-Ron Zook, as far as I know. I mean, Ron Zook might have,
he might have been around the 60s. He was around for too long. You're not wrong in that regard, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's some issues that I think we've harped on this season, and I mean, at this point, I don't think they're going to get fixed. However, I do want to mention one thing that I did see. It was on one of the, I believe it was the sack with Rashawn Gary and Kingsley Keke. I saw, I think, 9 out of the 11 defensive players at the line of scrimmage on like a 37.
Yeah.
Which was like got a huge pop from me because the whole, we've but we've discussed many times that, on 3rd and 7, the DBs will sag off 10 yards and,
right.
An offense will hit underneath and you get that first down because they're playing underneath because Pettin doesn't want to get beat over top. But I mean, at some point you gotta respect the fact that, you're not going to get beat over the top. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to dot you up for 50 yards over the top. At least I hope not. And I think Pettin realized that today, and I'm hoping we can see more of, those 3rd and medium, 3rd and short situations where you see the majority of the defensive starters playing on the line of scrimmage. And
that was good to see. That was good to see. That's producer Kyle. Thanks, Kyle. And look, I think that's a good point he brings up, right? The defense is finally starting to adjust. Maybe Pettin was screwing with us. Maybe he was throwing those 3-man rushes out early in the season so opposing teams thought he was stupid because he really looked stupid many times throughout this season. There's no easier way to say that, is there? I mean, we've all called for Mike Pettin's head at some point today, at some point this year. We've called for Mike Pettin's head. We're all guilty of it. I mean, that's no secret. But now, and again, the Eagles O-line, abysmal. Horrendous. I just made up a word. Horrendous. Kyle messaged me in the chat, said he can't talk. I can't talk either, apparently. But look, I mean, there's good to take away from this game, of course. It's a 2-touchdown win for Green Bay. But how much stock do you put into this win for Green Bay? That's what I'd be curious to hear from you. 877-878-7683 is the number. How much stock do you put into this win for the Green Bay Packers against the now 3-8-1 Philadelphia Eagles, who have 8 losses and are still, believe it or not, in contention there in the NFC East? I put a little bit into it. I mean, we definitely saw some good things. I think Aaron Rodgers had another terrific game. Devontae Adams looked terrific. Aaron Jones looked really good. A lot of good things out of the defense. This was a big confidence booster of a game for this Packers defense today against Carson Wentz and then eventually Jalen Hurts and that horrible offensive line for Philadelphia. One thing that's kind of been a common theme throughout the season, Kyle just said, there's a couple things we've been bringing up all year. One of those things that we haven't brought up yet is the roller coaster of a ride it is to cheer for Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Another long drop for him today, a perfectly placed ball by number 12, and MVS can't pull it in, can't keep it in his hands. It slips through, it gets through, and the Packers aren't moving the chains 30 yards down the field because MVS can't hang on to the football. And unlike other occasions, I guess, of course, the overtime game against Indianapolis is the other game that this happened. He didn't really rebound from that. Typically, MVS has a drop, and then he'll go make up for it with a touchdown or a long gain or a pass interference call, something along the lines of that. He didn't have the chance to make up for it today. Aaron Rodgers didn't go back to him after that drop. Maybe once, but if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he went back to him at all after that drop. Yeah, MVS targeted twice, no catches, no yards, and he had the big drop, and I don't think he was looked to after that. So constantly when we brought up MVS's downfalls this season, we've talked about Aaron Rodgers going back to him and showing that he has trust in MVS. You know, he has total faith in the guy as a number 2 or number 3 wide receiver for this Packers offense. But that wasn't really shown today. You know, we saw thrown into the mix a little bit more after that MVS drop was Equanimeous St. Brown, his draft counterpart from a few years back. And although Equanimeous St. Brown by no means had a super game, he was targeted twice, only caught one of them, and that was 7 yards as he did a front flip essentially in the air. That guy really likes to jump when he gets to the sideline. I don't know what's up with that, but little thing that EQ does that we've noticed the last few weeks. But Aaron Rodgers didn't prove that he's willing to go back to MVS again. You could tell he was incredibly frustrated when MVS dropped that football. It's been a roller coaster of a ride. We had of course, the Indianapolis game where he had the fumble, but we also aren't in overtime unless he does that for the Packers, unless he does the things he did in the fourth quarter of that football game. And earlier this season, you know, week 1 against Minnesota, he had a big drop, similar to the one we saw today. But Aaron Rodgers was not afraid to go back to him for long balls after that and weeks after that. But we didn't see Rodgers go back to Marquez Valdes-Scantling after that drop today. So that's something to keep an eye on this week. And I wonder if Aaron Rodgers will be asked about this, as he's either expected or is at the podium right now. So we'll see what the future holds for Marquez Valdes-Scantling in this Packers offense. But Davante Adams, again, the other wide receiver for that Packers offense that was making headlines. He's absolutely going to be an all-pro. In 10 games this season, he's already eclipsed 1,000 yards, which the only other people to do that in a season are all in the Hall of Fame. Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, and Davante Adams. 10 games, 1,000 yards. It's ridiculous how consistent he is in playing at just this freak of a level. 10 catches, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns for Davante Adams. The guy is just, frankly, really good at football, and he's finding his own. He's stayed healthy since he's returned from injury earlier this year, so that is a big positive as well. Let's go around the NFL now, check in on the other scores, the implications it has for Green Bay in the NFC North, and what we're looking ahead to, as there's only 4 games left in the regular season for Green Bay as we wrap up. I guess it really doesn't wrap up till Tuesday, but as we wrap up week 13. Also on the afternoon slate today, the Patriots top the Chargers. Wait for it. 45-0. Justin Herbert, who was making a really good case for Rookie of the Year, just watched his team get stomped into the ground, and his 2 interceptions did not help. And that was in Los Angeles, by the way. 45-0, the final there. I mean, Jarrett Stidham was playing football today. That's how bad of a game that one was.
Quick note on the game. The Patriots almost had as many yards as Cam Newton, the Patriots had almost as many points as Cam Newton had yards today, passing yards today. Cam Newton finished with 69 passing yards, and they scored 45 points, which is just ridiculous. I mean, how does that happen?
That is strange.
Little fun fact there.
Wow. So they only had what? How many yards passing, you said? Under 100?
Well, I don't know how many Stidham had, but Cam Newton only finished with
69
passing yards.
Okay, yeah. Stidham and Newton actually very close lines outside of the completion and attempts. Newton was 12 of 19, 69 yards, a touchdown. Stidham was 2 for 3, 61 yards and a touchdown. So Stidham actually with the higher rating today. But
Stidham's their answer at quarterback in New England.
No, absolutely not. Damian Harris had a nice game, and you know that backfield for New England always so confusing on what to make of it. But Damian Harris 16 carries for 80 yards. Cam Newton 14 carries for 48 yards. So he had over 100 all-purpose yards. Did Cam Newton? So maybe that's where the confusion from the passing yards come in. What else we got on the slate? We have the Saints topping the Falcons. Like mentioned, they are in first place in the NFC, 21-16, the final of that one. I don't even know what happened in this game, the Lions and the Bears, but the Bears had it in the bag, and then they didn't. And the Lions ended up coming back and winning that game almost as time expired, if I'm not mistaken, right? With like less than 20 seconds left.
I actually fell asleep at halftime.
Did you? Good for you.
This morning, so I took a nap, and I missed what might be the best morning slate of games we've had this NFL season.
Yeah.
Of course, that happens because I never take a nap on football days because I watch football all day.
Yeah.
And I missed arguably, we had the Lions-Bears game. We're going to get to some other close games here. Yeah. I mean,
the noon slate was fun. Yeah, the noon slate was fun. Here's what that looked like.
Yeah.
Chicago had the ball with 1:46 left. Mitch Trubisky took the snap, fumbled it, recovered at their own 7-yard, or at the Chicago 7-yard line. Detroit recovered it. So they only had 7 yards to go. Adrian Peterson eventually ran in a 5-yard touchdown run to take the lead. And then a turnover on downs for Chicago and one kneel for Matt Stafford to end that game. So 34-30, as both teams in that game are now 5-7. Chicago and Detroit, both 5-7.
6 in a row. 6 losses in a row for Chicago, and Darrell Bevell's first win as a head coach in the NFL. So there you go.
There you go, Darrell Bevell, who took over for the recently fired Matt Patricia this week. Yes, getting his first win. Good call, Kyle. That's why we keep you around. You know your stats. Elsewhere, though, in the NFL, how about the Raiders and the Jets? We were talking about this one a little bit on the pre-snap if you were following along with us. Came down to the wire. I can't believe how that game ended, but the Raiders scored a touchdown with 5 seconds left to take the lead back and eventually win the game. And the Jets almost lost Trevor Lawrence, but the Jets gonna Jets, and they ended up losing that game as the Raiders.
Yeah, I think the Jets with this loss they haven't mathematically secured because, they're only one game ahead with 4 to go. But looking at their schedule coming up, they have the Seahawks, they have the Rams, they have the Browns and the Patriots, which, you could see them possibly. The Patriots look very good today against the Chargers, but you could see, the second time in the last 4 years, we see a team go 0-16. The Jets have a very legitimate shot at doing that. And, if they go 0-16 out, they would clinch the one or the number 1 overall pick, and assuming Trevor Lawrence. And then I believe the Jaguars have a little bit easier schedule, but I wouldn't be shocked if they went 1-15. And yeah, the bottom of the AFC is certainly a cesspool down there.
Man, it is a cesspool just at the bottom of the NFL as a whole. You've got bad teams in the NFC by all means as well. Look at the entire NFC East. But yeah, 31-28 to final out of this one. The Jets pull Seattle next week, so definitely not ideal. But yes, 46-yarder for Henry Ruggs to win that game with 5 seconds left.
Jaguars' schedule isn't really any easier. They have the Titans next week, then they have the Ravens.
The Titans. Let's get there then. Let's go there. The Browns topped the Titans 41-35. The Titans put the pressure back on there in the second half. But, when you're up 38-7 at halftime, you're probably not too worried of how that game's going to turn out. And the Browns certainly weren't. They kicked the field goal in the third quarter, and that was all the scoring they needed to do, as they were just ridiculous. Baker Mayfield threw 4 touchdowns in the first half.
One of them is an offensive lineman.
First time that's ever been done. Baker Mayfield, 25 of 33, only 8 incomplete passes, 334 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just an outstanding showing for him and his offense. I knew the Browns were going to win this game. I didn't expect them to win it the way they was, but I didn't think it would be terribly close either. I don't think Tennessee's that good at football. I think they're perfectly competent. I think they have good coaching staff. Ryan Tannehill's not exciting. Derrick Henry's good at football. Their offensive line is their defense is They're not getting out of the first round if they make the playoffs. I assume they'll win the AFC South, but they're not getting out of the first round. They're just not that good.
Here's the thing with Tennessee is, and we were actually talking about this in one of my group chats this morning, is how do you beat Tennessee? Derrick Henry's a monster. He leads the NFL in rushing this season. They have weapons on offense. They have A.J. Brown. Corey Davis has come on as of late. Jonnu Smith is a serviceable tight end. And Ryan Tannehill has been he's been an above average quarterback in terms of NFL standards, especially since he took over as a starter in Tennessee last year. How do you beat this Tennessee team? And I think Cleveland set the blueprint today as you literally as easily just keep the ball out of their hands. You don't let Tennessee milk the clock like they want to do. You got to, first of all, it comes down to stopping Derrick Henry. You got to get up to a quick lead, and you got to go from there. kind of the same way you beat Green Bay. You keep the offense off the field. Really, is all you got to do.
Right.
You got to get out to a quick start. If you get up 2 possessions early, things look bad. I mean, the difference between Green Bay and Tennessee is Aaron Rodgers can come back from virtually, not any deficit, but if you're down 2-3 scores at halftime, that's not out of the question for Rodgers.
Can't count him out, right?
Tannehill is not anywhere near Aaron Rodgers' level. So, if you force Tennessee down 2-3 possessions, you got him exactly where you want him because they can't feed Derrick Henry because he's a guy who's going to get 5 to 7 yards of carry. And he's going to milk the clock if you keep feeding him. So that's how you beat Tennessee, and Cleveland did it perfectly today. And I think they've created a blueprint for the rest of the NFL going forward.
You force Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball 45 times, you're probably doing something right.
On paper, he had a good day, but it was all.
But when does Ryan Tannehill throw the football 45 times, Kyle? I don't think that's ever happened. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he's ever thrown that many passes in his career.
At what choice do you have? When you're down 38-7, you can't keep running with Derrick Henry unless you get lucky and he pops one off for 90-some yards like he's done in the past. But
yeah, he was. That's totally fair. Anyway, elsewhere in the NFL, I actually want to go back to the Jets quick because Adam Schefter just sent out something that I thought was quite interesting. So the Jets, from ESPN Stats and Info, the Jets sent the house, which is 7 pass rushers, on the Raiders' game-winning touchdown, a Hail Mary type situation where only a touchdown hurts them. It's an unheard of play call in our data set since 2006. They are the only team in our data set to send 6+ pass rushers that met all 3 qualifiers for score, lead, and distance to go. The final 15 seconds of regulation between a 4 and 8 point lead and 40+ yards to the end zone. They are the only team since 2006 that fits in that data that sent more than 6 people, and there has been at least 251 instances of that since 2006.
I'm glad you brought it up because
Adam Gase needs to be fired
right now. I'm going to come out and say it. The Jets lost the game on purpose.
I think so too.
They know what's at stake with the number 1 overall pick. They know it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. Sam Darnold clearly isn't the answer, although I kind of feel bad for the guy because I think the guy has a ton of talent. He's just been surrounded by horrible people, horrible organization, horrible coach, you name it, whatever. But the Jets know what's at stake. And I think the ownership of the Jets or the GM or whoever's in charge is they're going to keep Adam Gase till the end of the year because Adam Gase gives them the best shot at going 0-16. I don't think Adam Gase is necessarily – he's a bad coach, but I think at this point he's being bad on purpose. Like he knows he's a crap coach.
He's being bad on purpose. I don't think he's being bad on purpose, Kyle. He's fighting for his job in New York. What the hell are you talking about? You think he's just like, I'm just going to suck on purpose. He's not going to be there next year.
I don't think it was his decision to be horrible on purpose.
What?
I don't know.
What does that even mean?
I'm putting on my tinfoil hat. I don't know. I just think the ownership or the GM or whoever is like, hey, Adam, we're keeping you as our coach because
they're not.
We know you suck. You're going to give us the best shot of being 0-16, the best shot of getting us Trevor Lawrence. We're going to fire you on Black Monday. You're gone. Have a nice life.
You think they sat – hold on, Kyle. Let me walk you through the theory you just presented to me. You think they sat him down before the season and said, hey, you grown – now let me talk. You think they sat him down and said, hey, you grown-ass man, we think you stink at your job and you give us the best chance to stink. So we're going to keep you here. You think they gave him the hall pass? You think they gave him the hall pass before the season to say, hey, Adam Gase, run our franchise straight into the ground, thank you? That's stupid, Kyle. You're better than this. You're better than this.
I don't think it was before the season. I think, 5-6 weeks in, they finally realized that, hey.
But do you think the Jets had high hopes at all?
I don't know. But probably not.
We picked the whole NFL schedule before the season. We had the Jets winning 1 game.
I don't know. I got on my tinfoil hat. I like to have a little fun.
Go live with your cavemans, you freaking tinfoil hat, you weirdo. Giants beat the Seahawks. This is the game we got to talk about. Giants beat the Seahawks. I didn't watch a minute because it was on at the same time as the Packers. But from what I've heard and read, Russell Wilson didn't play super well.
Well, that's not surprising. Let Russ cook. He's the MVP, 8 weeks of the year. That's why they don't give away the MVP in October. They give it away in January.
That's very true.
For this reason.
Who's going to win it?
MVP? Well, I mean, I would love it to be Aaron Rodgers, but I think the media hypes up Patrick Mahomes to the point where he's going to win it. Actually, funny you bring that up. I hope I can find it. I'm going to paraphrase a tweet I saw earlier today. I don't know who it was. I think it was a Packers beat writer. I'm just not sure exactly who it was. Aaron Rodgers should far and away be the MVP this season. Like, hands down, he should far and away be the MVP. But Patrick Mahomes has been so good, and I'm going to word this completely wrong. I wish I had the tweet in front of me. Patrick Mahomes has been so good that he's not on Aaron Rodgers' level, but like I'm gonna freaking word this so bad. I wish I had the tweet.
Then just don't even say it.
I'm not even gonna say it.
Let's get this one out, buddy.
The point is that Aaron Rodgers should be the MVP, but Patrick Mahomes has been like nuclear and out of this world that it's gonna be Patrick Mahomes. But in any other given year, Aaron Rodgers is the MVP.
You're right. You're 100%. I mean, it's going to be those two, and I think they're both going to get votes, and I think there's a case to be made for both of them. You can't sit here and tell me there's not a great case to be made for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, there's a great case to be made for Rodgers and Mahomes. Luckily, there's still 4 weeks left, so we'll see what happens. But Aaron Rodgers does have the, as of starting today, the third easiest schedule remaining in the National Football League of any quarterback.
Here, I found the tweet. Andy Herman tweeted it. The best compliment I can give Patrick Mahomes is that there shouldn't be anyone in the same conversation with Aaron Rodgers for MVP this year. The fact he being Patrick Mahomes tells you how incredible Patrick Mahomes is.
Yep.
That's the tweet. I thankfully found it. Thankfully, I liked it.
That's the tweet. Thanks, Andy. And I'll be able to chat with Andy here in about an hour and a half, recording tomorrow's episode of the Pack a Day podcast. Him and I. No Perry this week, which is too bad, but I got an open mic. I don't think you want me on after the stupid take about the Jets, though. I'm sorry. No, Jets, don't apologize for your stupid takes. Stand by them. Don't apologize for stupid takes. Stand by them. That's what we do here.
I hate to bring it back up, but I just think that at some point during this season, the Jets sat down Adam Gase and said, hey, you give us the best shot at being 0-16.
There's no way they said that to. Do you know how humiliating that would be? If somebody said, like, if I said, Kyle, listen, buddy, you are the best producer for the job to make me take last place in the local rankings. You give me the best opportunity to have a last place radio show. Like, what?
But that's different. There's no incentive at the end. The incentive at the end is the number 1 overall pick.
Great. And, I love the idea of Trevor Lawrence, but they just had this with Sam Darnold. Didn't they pick Sam Darnold top 5? Like,
they traded up to I think they traded up like top 3 to get him.
Yeah, and they're already pulling the plug on that experiment, but they haven't had a competent head coach there yet. So,
then my question is then
Trevor Lawrence doesn't fix your issues.
So then my question is: do you continue to build around Sam Darnold, and did the Jets not take Trevor?
No, you take Trevor Lawrence. You take Trevor Lawrence, but you have a lot more issues than Trevor Lawrence.
Like having Adam Gase as your head coach, even though
having Adam Gase as your head coach, and like having a horrible offensive line and having very minimal weapons on that offense.
They have. I mean, there's pieces there. They have Quinnen Williams, who's ESPN has him as one of the best run-stopping D linemen in the NFL, which is, that's great for them. Denzel Mims has looked good early. They have pieces, but
Jameson Crowder's solid. I think Aaron Jones is going to sign there next year.
Really?
I think they're going to toss the bag at Aaron Jones. It makes sense, right? Who do they have back there right now? Michael Pirine is the running back. Frank Gore, I think Aaron Jones is a Jet next year.
I think Frank Gore has like 5 more years in him, though. Come on, dude.
Frank Gore is old as
dirt.
Older than that, man. Older than that. He's been in the league for like 84 years. He is the Perry Ellis on steroids of the NFL.
Aaron Jones to the Jets would. Good for him. He's probably going to get $15 million a year to go to the Jets, but the issue is he's not running behind the Packers' offensive line, and I think you'd quickly find out that running the ball behind a good offensive line is what makes you successful. So
yeah. All right. Well, that's producer Kyle and Alex Strouf. Appreciate you all hanging out. The Packers beat the Eagles 30-16. They're now 9-3 on the year. They play at Detroit next week. We'll do this again, same time. Well, I guess not the same time because I don't think it's a 3:25 game next week.
We got flex at 3:25. We got.
Never mind. Then same time next week. We'll see you in 7 days. That's producer Kyle and Alex Strouf. Peace.